Hi everyone, New Britain Mayor Erin Stewart here. This year is the 150th anniversary of New Britain becoming a city. And in honor of this year-long celebration, I'm bringing you a series of videos highlighting the stories behind prominent names, symbols, and institutions that are found throughout our city. Today's story focuses on the history behind the Great Swamp Society. Standing atop the beautiful Walnut Hill Park Rose Garden, you can look out and gaze at the surrounding topography with mountains that reach higher than the Rose Garden itself. You can trace the course of highways and railroads and point out with a feeling of pride the steeples, chimneys, and roofs we know, in addition to the neighborhoods and the beautiful hills that surround our city. On a clear day, you can even catch a glimpse of the Capitol Dome in Hartford or notice the mysteriously blue colors of the hillsides lining the eastern horizon. The extremely low topography of this area is what would become known as the Great Swamp, the origins of the city of New Britain. The settlement of the Great Swamp began around 1685, around the same time King James II ascended to the throne in England. The initial settlers were led by Captain Richard Seymour and came from Farmington, much the same way as their parents and grandparents had gone out to Farmington from Hartford some 40 years before. This handful of settlers built a small stockade for refuge in case of need in the Christian Lane area, but still had to make the trek each week to Farmington for church. It was an 8-mile walk. Women and children were placed in the middle of the pack, with men carrying their guns, walking ahead and behind. During the winter, the weather was unbearable, and the trail was almost impossible to travel. Because of this, the families created a petition to form a new church, which they named the Great Swamp Society. This new church was officially formed in 1705, shortly followed by the forming of the schools and the establishment of local businesses. By 1754, the Great Swamp Society was split into two separate parishes, the Kensington Society and the New Britain Society. These parishes, along with the parish of Berlin, would share resources and rotate official business meetings between all three locations. In 1850, New Britain's population had grown to 3,029 people and was larger than the Kensington and the Berlin parish combined. This led to New Britain separating on its own and becoming its own town. After several years of growth in business and a population that now rose to over 9,000 residents, the decision was made that New Britain would attempt to become incorporated as a city. The state legislature granted that incorporation in 1870, and it was brought to a vote. The vote narrowly passed, 521 to 520, to officially incorporate New Britain as a city in 1871. In the 150 years that have passed since becoming a city, New Britain has developed into the city that we all know and love today. With almost 75,000 residents, 17 public schools, hundreds of thriving businesses, and more parks per square mile than any other city in the country, it's exciting to look to what the future holds. But it is important that as we look towards the future, we don't forget our past and remember that it all started with a great swamp.